Hi, Austin. Hi, Michael. Thank you so much for joining. We're just requesting if we can give it extra 8 minutes. We'll start at 3:10 just to give more time for other participants to join, and then we can start the webinar. Okay, so I think it's safe for us to begin the webinar, and thank you so much for attending. So I've shared a poll for you to answer. We've requested for you to share the features you'd love more emphasis on. So yeah, kindly, I would just give it some few seconds. You finish up on the poll, and then we can begin. Okay, so I'm seeing the majority of the requests are leaning more on farm assets and daily work reports. Okay, so I think we can begin from there. Okay, so daily work reports had the most requests. Okay, so we'll give attention to that. Okay, so we'll begin with the registration process. So as you know, once you log into our website and you select products and then you select FarmCloud, log into FarmCloud, it's going to route you to this page. So if it's your first time registering on FarmCloud, you'll tap on sign up. There are some information you're supposed to fill in, that being your name, your last name, username, email address, phone number, depending on the specific country you're from. You enter password and you confirm the password. So after this process, the next step is usually you proceed with registration and you'll be required to verify your information. Yeah. So from there, it takes you back to signing in where you enter your information. Okay. So while at this section, you'll be able to see you're now logged into FarmCloud. So the first thing to see is usually the summary page, and under the summary page, you get weather, you get the crops that you're currently growing, the number rather, the number of employees that you have in your farm, greenhouses, and also, sorry, the structures, financial summary, and yield that you've gotten so far. So as you had requested on the poll, we'll begin with farm assets. So farm assets is usually the first step when you log into FarmCloud because you need to indicate the structure that you're working with and also the crops that you're growing. So we'll begin with that one. So under farm element, so let's do one for an open field. So you tap on add a block so we can have block T. Block T. Size, we can have it as it's 1 acre. Date added as that, as today that is, and then we add. So once you add, you'll find that block T has been populated. So when you tap on the name block T, on the top right corner, you'll be given the option to add a plant. So you tap on add a plant, and then now you select the specific plant. So let's go with wheat. And then you have to indicate the quantity of seeds or seedlings that you're working with during that planting. So we can go with the 100. And then when it comes to planting date, you have the option to backtrack. So if you had started prior to you knowing FarmCloud, you can just backtrack. So let's say we started in beginning of March. So let's say March 1st. A projected harvest, this is just projection. It doesn't need to be accurate since you have a section to indicate the accurate harvest that you got. So we can just go with an estimate of what we expect to get. So let's say 50,000 kgs, and then we add. So that's it when it comes to adding a structure and plant information. So after that, the next step is usually fertilizers and agrochemicals. So in this section is just keeping record of all the farm inputs you have in your farm. So if you've bought any fertilizer, you've bought any agrochemical, this is the section you indicate that. So just to show you how it looks like, you will select fertilizer. You will select the supplier, quantity, So we can have 100. So a point to note. So while you are selecting here, if you go with liquid, that's what you'll have during daily work reports. If you select solids, that's what you'll have during daily work report. So let's go with this one as an illustration. 100 kgs. Minimum quantity alert, we can have it at 10. So if you'd love to include this as an expense also, you'll tap here, create as associated expense. So cost, we can say it costed us 2,000. You select the payment method. We can say paid via M-Pesa. You can attach proof of payment, and you can give a brief narration of what exactly that payment. So bought fertilizer for block T, bought fertilizer for the entire farm, depending on the narration that you'd love to have. Yes. So we can add. Okay. So fertilizers, and the same thing we've done for fertilizers, the same thing you'll do for agrochemicals, since the report looks exactly the same, exactly the same. Okay, so after that, we're supposed to head over to daily work report. Since this was a feature that was highly requested, I just want to know if everyone is in the clear, or there's someone needs further clarification. You can feel free to raise your hand or share a chat. But if you're good, you can feel free to share a thumbs up. Okay. So I think we can proceed. So after that, we have the daily work report. So under daily work reports, we'll do one for fertilizer. Okay. So first step is usually selecting the type of structure you're working with. So in our case, we're working with block T. You need to select the plant variety. So once you select the block, the system will know the specific crop that's being grown in that structure. So we have hydrax for wheat. So stage, you're still in planting. Fertilizer application, it's this one, all growth. Date of application, it's this one. Time of application, and quantity. Okay, so quantity, we can have it as we had applied 5 kg. Method of application, we can say drenching. Okay, so if you'd love to add another report, you'll tap add a report, and then now same steps we've done. So block T, so it can be a different block. It doesn't have to be the same block. So you can select a different block, the variety that's been grown there, the stage. So this one is already in clearing. So the stage, fertilizer, date, time, let's have it as now. Quantity, we can have it as 100. Method used, we can have it as broadcasting. Notes, if there's any notes that's applicable, you can add them. So let me include dates, and then you save all the reports. Okay. Okay, so I think the issue is that the quantity applied exceeds the available quantity. So let's just redo it real quick. available quantity, method of application, let's have as broadcasting, and then here. Perfect. So now you'll see, so if you want to add several reports, you have the option to do so. So fertilizers and agrochemicals are exactly the same thing. So the exact same thing we did with fertilizer is the exact same thing you'll find with agrochemical. So let's head over to scouting. So scouting is what exactly did you see while at the farm? So for this one, this is how the report looks like. You will select the element, which is the structure, the plant, the stage, the date, and then give a brief description. Was able to see flowering and fruiting in some plants. And then you have the option to attach images to support whatever you saw, and you can attach any other additional notes that feel is applicable, and then you add. From there, we have manual irrigation. So under manual irrigation, just as the name suggests, so what was the quantity of water that you had irrigated for? So same thing that we've been doing with the other reports. Select block, select plant, the stage that you're in, date of application, so date of irrigation, time you are irrigating, the duration you are irrigating for, we can go with 200 minutes. Quantity of liters, we can say 500 liters. Method used, we can go with drip irrigation. So irrigated block T after transplanting. And then we add. Okay, so after manual irrigation, you have the pre-harvest report. So under pre-harvest, you create a report. Same step. You select the element, you select the plant variety, you select the stage. So in this one, we can go with flowering, date of the date you are recording the pre-harvest report. So we have requirements. So for pre-harvest report, it's a bit unique since you have a checklist that you have to gauge yourself with to know if you're actually ready for harvesting, or there's anything you need to correct before harvesting. So this, excuse me. So this is the list here. So we can go with yes for everything, but you answer truthfully depending on what's happening in your farm so that you can correct and get the right quality of produce. Then you can attach notes. We can see pre-harvest reports for the first season. And then you add. Okay, so after that we have the last report, not last, second last report, which is the pre-harvest the harvest report. So under harvest report is, just as the name suggests, what is the quantity of output you've gotten from that specific season or from that specific plant. So same step that we've been doing. You select the block, you select the variety, you select the stage. In this case, we are at harvesting, the date of harvesting, the time. You also have to include the quality of harvest. So we have three options in this case. We have high quality harvest, low quality harvest, and harvest lost. So by lost, it can be lost in transit, it can be lost due to theft, depending on what actually happened. But if it doesn't apply, just leave it optional. So we can have at high quality harvest, we can see we harvested 60,000 kgs, and low quality harvest, we can say we had like 1,000 kg, which was of low quality harvest. Lost in transit or lost, we don't have any. And so for this one, for notes, we can have first harvest for weeks. Okay, so if you want to include another harvest report, you'll just tap on add another report. If you are creating for another element, let's say you had several blocks, that you are growing different crops. So you can, and you are harvesting at the same time. You can select the different block, select the variety. So for this one, it was already harvested. Yeah. Time, date and time, high quality harvest, low quality harvest as none, and harvest lost in transit, and then your attach notes, and so on and so on. So if you have multiple reports for agrochemical fertilizers and harvest, you can create multiple reports, and then we save. Okay. So we do acknowledge that what we've highlighted here on the platform are not the only activities that are done during farming. So we have the other section to accommodate for any other activity that you've done in your farm that is not highlighted here on the platform. So when you tap on other, you're given the option to attach the name of the reports that you want to create for. So let's go with pruning. You select the farm elements, you select the variety, same thing we'll be doing. So this one, you'll give a brief description. You can also attach images, and you can also give any notes that applies to that specific report. Yes. So that sums up your daily recording of the activities you've done in the farm. So we have another feature whereby you can provide compliance to your buyers. So we have the generating the traceability report. So for every report that you do, we've given you the option to download it. So if your buyers require you to provide compliance, let's say the buyer that you're currently working with is strictly wants the crops to be organic, and they can't verify, they'll need you to provide proof that indeed you've been using organic means to get your harvest. So with the help of a traceability report, you come here, you select the elements, you select the variety, and then you select the reports. So we have fertilizer, agrochemical, scouting, pre-harvest, harvest, irrigation reports, and other reports. And then you generate the report. So now you're able to provide compliance to your buyers. They'll be able to say that, yes, indeed, from the fertilizer that I've seen indicated in the platform, they're organic. So yeah, you provide compliance and you don't lose business at the end of the day. Also, if you are opting to export, compliance is usually needed, and having FarmCloud would really come in handy with proving what you've been doing in your farm. So before we proceed to weather and satellite, I'd request if there's any questions, if you need any clarification on something, feel free to let us know. Okay, so before we can proceed with weather and satellite, I just have a quick poll for you to fill in. So okay, so I've shared a poll with you, and yeah, I'd really appreciate your feedback. Okay, so I can, okay, people are still filling in. Okay, So I think the question was more to lean on if you're subscribed to FarmCloud. I think the options are not quite clear. So the first one is more to affirm that yes, you're subscribed to FarmCloud, and the second one is you're not yet you haven't yet subscribed to FarmCloud, but you intend to. Yes. So from the poll, I can see 40% of you have registered on not registered, sorry, have subscribed to FarmCloud. I don't know if you guys can share a message directly and share with me the plan that you're in, which is the specific plan that you're in on FarmCloud. At least as we cover the following features, we'll know how to handle each and everyone. Yeah. So because I'm seeing 33% actually are subscribed to FarmCloud. So kindly just share with us what's the package that you're subscribed to. Okay. I think we can proceed. You will just answer us. We'll be able to see your responses. So let's head over to weather and satellite. Okay, just 1 minute. Okay, so let's proceed to weather and satellite. So under weather and satellite, just as the name suggests, weather and satellite. So let's tackle weather first. What does weather do? Through FarmCloud, you're able to get the weather forecast depending on your farm location. So it won't just give you weather generally according to what's happening in Kenya, but specifically in your farm, what exactly is going on. And the satellite, with the help of satellite imagery, it's able to identify how healthy your crops are doing. Are they stressed? Are they doing well? Yes. So the first thing, in order for you to be able to get either weather or satellite information, you have to plot a farm boundary. So after plotting a farm boundary, this is what you'll have. Yes. So this is what you'll have. And now you're able to see the temperature information, weather information, that being temperature, that is maximum and minimum temperature according to your farm, the total area that this boundary has covered, the current soil data, that being temperature at the top of the soil, temperature 10 centimeters deep, and the soil moisture in that specific location. So now for weather data, we usually give you three options, that being hourly, daily, and historical weather. So for hourly, as you can see here, there's weather information indicated, and as from there we have the daily forecast as of 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, and 30th. So it's a bit cloudy, as you can see. Tomorrow will be a bit sunny, but it will be cloudy as well. And then we have the historical weather data. So under historical weather data, you're able to see from the past year. So from today till 2024, a time like now, how has the weather been? So what you do is that you filter out the specific. You might just want to see what happened in January this year. So you have the option to filter out the specific time you'd love to check. Let's work with January. And then, okay, let me have till January 30th. Yeah, and then now you can see how what the weather patterns in January. So you can see 11th of January, there was some bit of rain. Then there was no rain up until 23rd. Yes, so that's how you evaluate the historical weather. So after that, we have the satellite data. So satellite data, it monitors how healthy your crops are doing with the help of indices. So we have various indices that stands for different that have different explanations, and we've attached explanations for you. Since we understand it's a lot to grasp all at once, so we've attached explanations for you. If you select a specific index, and then you tap on this icon, you'll be given the explanation and also how to evaluate this data. So just to summarize it for you, as you can see here, we have a variety of indices, that being, so let's just summarize. So we have NDVI, EVI, EVI2. So for those ones, the specific aim is to measure how healthy your crops are doing. So the higher the value in either NDVI, EVI, and EVI2, the higher the value, the indication of a healthier crop. So we have DSWI, this one. So for DSWI, this one, it focuses more on showing stress, if the crop is stressed, and mostly through moisture levels. So if the crop is if there isn't enough moisture in the soil, DSWI is usually the best option. So for higher values for DSWI, it suggests drought or stress. The crops are stressed, and lower values, it suggests sufficient water for the plants. So we have NDWI. As you can see, it also changes on the map. So for NDWI, it also measures water content. DSWI and NDWI, they all measure water content. And for NDWI is the opposite of DSWI. So higher value suggests that there is enough water content in the soil and in the plants, and lower value suggests that this stress, the crops are stressed and there isn't sufficient water in the soil. Yeah. So another thing, the reason as to why I had asked if you're subscribed to FarmCloud is that you'll get to enjoy some features that are not available on the free plan. The one that I've shown you, the traceability report, it's part of the subscribed feature. We also have exporting your satellite data. So if you'd want to dig in deeper from the data the indices have given you, you can export the data, and that's a feature we've added for anyone who'd love to subscribe and get more value for FarmCloud. So yeah, I think we've covered the beginning part of FarmCloud, that is the registration, adding a structure, the daily work reports, and the weather and satellite. So before we get to tackle any new feature and also accounting, I'd love to welcome any questions. Yes, before I welcome my colleague to cover the other parts. Okay, if there are no questions, you can, yeah, you can feel free to share thumbs up. Okay. Okay, perfect. I think we are good to go so far, but if you have any questions while Sam is presenting, please feel free to let us know. We are happy to address them. You don't have to speak. You can also share through chat, and we'll be happy to address. So Sam is going to take you through some new features and also the accounting feature. Yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Samuel. I'm co-host alongside Stacy, and I'll walk you through the remaining features of FarmCloud. To our new yet to be subscribers, feel free to ask any question on the features that you are not understanding or any feature that you'll need more clarification on. I'm happy to answer all questions. And to our existing users, congratulate yourself for using FarmCloud. I'm sure you're reaping benefits of it. Or maybe after the webinar, I'll get someone to share their experience after using FarmCloud, which will encourage the new users yet to be to subscribe on FarmCloud. So if you want to subscribe on FarmCloud, you can reach out to Stacy, and she will take you through the process, and she will also show you which features are available in which tier, so that you can have a smooth sailing while using FarmCloud and maximize your farm inputs. So to start with, let me start with product and services. Uh, for one, product and services, some of the products are linked to your farm products. So once you've finished in harvest report and marked up a plant as you have harvested it, as Stacy demonstrated. So you come back here to products and services, and your product will be automatically added to the product and services listing table. So once you have it, you'll be able to manage your products and services. Also, if the product you're selling, you have not grown it in your farm, you can come here to this button and add your product or the services that you're offering. Let me take you through a quick setup of how to record products that you are not growing in your farm, so that you can be able to create invoices and sell them to your buyers. So for one, let's you click this button, uh, add product. You the product name, the product type, if it is a farm asset, farm service, or a farm product. Farm product is a product that is belongs to your farm. A farm service are the services that you're offering to a farm, or a farm asset is something that is going to uh, be utilized in a farm. So we can say uh, it's a farm asset. Then measure, you can say pieces. Then for description, say tractors. Then you add. Oh, okay. So if you see when you create a product which already exists, you get that you cannot duplicate a product that already exists in your phone. So you'll have to create a new product that doesn't exist in your phone. So you can say hospital or maybe sheets, iron sheets. It's a farm asset. Then you say farm iron sheets, and then you add. So once you completed the process of adding a product, you see that it is the first item that is listed in the product listing table, and you see the status of that product, whether it is active or not active. Then you see the name, the type of the product, and also the description, the one that we write a small description describing the product, and also the product code and the unit. Then here we have actions that you can take against the product. So for action, we can either edit the product information, we can archive the product, or we can delete the product. So let's say in our case, we tried to add a tractor, but you see a tractor was already existing. So if we wanted to add the number of tractors in our farm, then you can edit product information, and then you can uh, edit the description, or any if we change it to a farm service or a unit of measurement. Now we can be able to do that. Then afterwards you can update. Then after that you've created your products. Then I'll show you how to create invoices and track your expenses that you incurred inside your farm. So before I move to income and expenses, kindly, if you have a question of any understanding of the products module, let me know so that I can answer your question and then you can move forward. If no, you can give me a thumbs up and then we'll continue. All right, all right. Okay, so let's proceed. So once you have your products in your farm, the ones you have recorded, the ones you have grown in your farm, then you can come here and start to create invoices for those products. That is when you want to sell your products now. So here, let me take you through quickly. We have the buyer whom you want to sell the product to, the invoice, the due date, if it's overdue or not yet, the invoice amount, the paid amount, the remaining amount, or the status again. So now, if you have a new invoice, you'll see cleared invoices is zero this month, outstanding zero. That is for my case, but for your case, it is going to be different depending on how you're transacting. Then overdue, if you have overdue is zero this month, but you see I have one overdue invoice. So when you want to create an invoice, you press this button. Then here you'll be provided with the invoice form. For one, we have invoice number. You can choose to leave it blank so that it can be auto-generated by the system, or you can choose to fill the invoice number yourself. I'll leave it blank. Then the date issued is when you have issued the invoice for your products. Then the due date is when you expect the buyer or the person you're selling to uh, cash in the money from the product or service that you uh, sold to him or her. Then the buyer, here you come and select the buyer information. For our new users or someone who is yet to create an invoice, if you don't have a buyer, you will be prompted to create a buyer. I will show you how to create a buyer after this so that you can tie it up again to accounting. Then, if your buyer has a custom billing and shipping address, you tick this box. It's a checkbox, so you tick it. You fill the billing address and the shipping address as well. But if the buyer billing address and the shipping address is the same, it's not different. Now you can uncheck the box and proceed to fill in the products. So as I had shown you previously, we had our products. So here you come and select the products that you want to be in your invoice. So I created in iron sheets. I get quantity, say two. Then unit price is price for one iron sheet. So you see I have two, so unit price for one, I'll say it's 1,000. Then you'll see the total amount as 2,000 because it's multiplying 2 times 1,000. Then for tax is when if this product or service I'm selling is viable for tax, so you can add the tax here, see VAT. But if you had not previously added tax in your form, you can press this button and you'll be able to add the tax name and the tax rate, and you can continuously use it for other products or in other invoices. So afterwards, now you have to, if you want to add another product, maybe you want to invoice two products, then you can press this button and then you, let's say tractors. This time, let's pick a product that we are growing in our farm. Let's say Bachen High Quality Harvest. Quantity is 10. Say price for one, it's 1,000 again. Then the VAT says Now, once you've done that and you realize that you don't want this second entry or the first entry, you can press this X button and it will clear this. So like that, and you see we have cleared our entry. Now, after you correctly recorded your invoice items, you have to record your payment details again. So here you press this add payment method, then you choose the payment method where which you want to receive the money through the invoice. So you can say bank check, bank transfer, or mobile money. I'll say mobile money, or let me show you how bank transfer looks like. Bank transfer, you have to record the payment method all the way through to the currency for bank name, account name, their bank account number, the SWIFT code for the bank, and the branch. Then for cash, it's just cash. You will cash in when you want to go to when the buyer comes to you. Then check is the bank check. So you just say the pay name, and then you go to the bank where you want to cash in the check. Then you can say the pay name. Let's say it's this. But you remember you have to fill in a valid pay name. Then for this here you want if you want to save the payment method to use it in future, you can toggle this button. If you don't want, you don't have to toggle it, you can leave it as the way it was before. So let me toggle it, then I click add. Then by that I have added a payment method. So for payment method, once I add one payment method, it will come up through here. So the one that I've added is check. Then if I have any notes, I, I'll write them here. So here we select the payment method. It's a check. Then we say iron sheets, two iron sheets. Now on this other side, this is where you select the subtotal, the discount, and the tax breakdown. You see your tax breakdown over here. So if you want to give the buyer a discount, you can say whether it is percentage or cash. If it is percentage, you check on percentage and then you click what percent you want. Let me say 2%. Then include shipping. That is, if you want to include shipping address, your shipping fee to the buyer, then you can check this box again. You check it and then you can include the shipping fee. Then the tax breakdown is how your tax looks like. If now let me add another product so you can see. So here we had tractors, then we had like 20, then 1000, then VAT. You notice that our VAT will increase here in tax breakdown since I've added another tax. So you can see our tax breakdown is at 520 from our previous one. Then after I have verified that the form is correct, now you can save the form. Now, once you have saved the invoice, you see here we have our buyer, our invoice, the due date again, the amount. Our invoice is issued, so it has not been paid. Then the remaining amount is the same as invoice amount because we haven't paid anything. And then the actions you can take on our invoice. So for one, if we want now to, let's say, receive payment, like the buyer has cashed in half of the money or maybe the full amount, the process to that is you come here next to the add invoice, you press receive payment button, then you will have to select the buyer, the payment receipt date is today, then the payment method is check, but it's not listed here. So let me go to cash. Then the amount received, let's say 10,000. Then afterwards, our invoice is this one for 25,000. So I'll check this invoice. Remember here you have to select the invoice that you want to receive payment for. So if you want to receive payment for these two invoices, you you check both of them, you select both of them. But now I only want to receive payment for one invoice, then I'll only check one of them. Then the payment is, then afterwards, reference number is optional. Again, it will be generated automatically. Then notes, I'll say payment received, partial payment. Then if I have attachments to justify my payment, I'll be able to attach them over here. Then you can save and close. Now, once we have received our payment, we see the status of our invoice has changed to partially paid. Now, this means that our invoice has been paid, but it has not been paid fully. It is partial payment. And when you come back here, you see the invoice amount was 25,000, but the paid amount was 10,000. So the remaining amount is 15,000. That translates to a partial paid invoice. Now, if you want to edit the invoice, to view the invoice or delete the invoice, you can choose the action that fits your current mode of operation. But let me show you how to view the invoice you've just created. So here, you press this view button, and now you'll be able to see that these are your details. Then this is the invoice and the invoice number, the one I told you it will be generated automatically. Now here we see that it's a partial payment that has been received on this day. Then the day has been issued, the due date. This is the person whom we have billed our invoice to, the buyer that is. And now the items. The items, remember, it was tractors and iron sheets. And now the breakdown of your amount and the taxes. And also payment method, check, and then invoice note. And now you can choose to download the invoice or you can close it. To download, depending on the nature of your business and or the transaction, that is up to you. Or you may want to provide physical document showing that you created the invoice, you made the invoice to the buyer, or physical record keeping, whichever is what is it called? Case that suits your operation. It is now you have that liberty. Now here, once you decided on which operation you want, you can close or download. So I'll say close. Now once you've done that, here you see our outstanding invoices. We have one new this month. And now here, if you look at the top next to invoices, we have payments. Payments is all the payments that have gone to our invoices. As you can remember, we paid 10,000, and you see that our payment status is applied because that amount has been applied to an invoice. Now I have finished about invoices because that's it. It's just that easy, very easy to create an invoice and perform operations on those invoices. If you have any question, kindly let me know before I proceed to expenses. And then we'll go to buyers and we'll get closing testimonies from you. If you have a question, kindly let me know. You can raise up your hand or you can text in the chat. I'll be able to answer you. Okay. Okay, then let me proceed to the next part, which is expenses. So in expenses, we have two categories of expense. We have general expenses and element specific expenses. For general expense is expenses that are not tied to any operation, any farm element, but element specific are expenses that are tied to a particular element. Now, here we see element expenses listing table where we have the category, we have the expense type, then the date incurred, the narration, vendor amount incurred, and then the payment method, the status of the expense, if it has been approved or rejected. Now, if it is approved, you'll see the status as approved here. But if it is rejected, you can reject the expense over here, and the status will change to rejected. Now let me show you how to create an expense. So you press this button, then afterwards you'll be presented with a choice to choose which type of expense you want to select. For general expense, they apply to the entire farm. Then for element specific, they apply to a farm element, as I had mentioned earlier. So let me pick one for element specific. Then you can do next for a general expense. Then here we have a category. Our category, you can say seeds and seedlings. Then farm element name, say block apples, plant variety, then supplier. You fill in the dating card of the expense, the cost. So this is the costing card when you are purchasing these seedlings. Say 1,000. Then the payment method would say M-Pesa. Then you can choose a receipt to support your purchase. And then you can add a description saying expense for seedlings. And as you can see, our category is seedlings, expense type, element specific, and everything about our expense has been listed as the first one. Now, if you choose to approve this status or this expense, you can approve it, and you see the status will change to approved. Now, when you approve it, it will be counted as part of your expenses, as your total expense. Then here, let me go back and now I can show you how to create a general expense. For a general expense, let's go back. Say this is a general expense. You click next, select category. You can say farm machinery and equipment, supplier. You can say the same supplier. Then the costing card, payment method. It's the same process as for element specific. Then you say then you add. Very simple process. Then afterward, you see you have to note that the total expense has not been updated because we are yet to either object or approve our our expense. Once we approve it, now you'll see that the total expense will be updated. You see it has been updated to 12,500. Then that is all about expenses. You can choose to accept, reject expenses, and all that, create expenses to your form, and all that. Now you can view information about the expense, which is a detailed information about that expense, and you can choose to edit or you can choose to reject the expense depending on the nature of operation you want to perform. And that's it. That's it about expenses. It is very easy for our new users. You can see that it's easy to use our platform. But if you have any question, let us know. We will be able to help you. Then from there, I'll go to the buyers part so that I can show you how to create a buyer, the one that will link into our invoice creation. But if you have a question up to that point, let me know so that we can be able to address your question or any clarification. If there are no questions, thumbs up, then I'll be able to proceed to the next part. All right. Okay, so let me take you through the buyer. The buyer is very simple. So for buyers, these are buyers you want to transact with in your farm. So you have to record their information so that during the invoice creation that I shared, I presented, you can be able to select your buyer easily. So let me show you how to create a buyer. You press this add buyer button, then you select the currency of the buyer, say Kenya shillings, the first name of the buyer, then the last name, then the company name. That is if the buyer is operating on behalf of a company, so you can say present buyer, present limited. Then for email address, you can choose any email address for the buyer. Then the phone number. For fax, it is optional, and also for the website, it's optional. For website, you have to list whether the buyer has a website or maybe the company's website for the buyer, the one that the buyer represents. Then for billing address, you select the address of the buyer. You can say Nairobi, Kenya. Then street address 2. If we have a street address 2 for the buyer, you can say Nakuru. Then the country is then city is Nairobi. Postal code. Here we have a checkbox that is checked automatically. It means that if the shipping address is the same as billing address. So here we have our billing address, but if the billing address is not the same as shipping address, now we uncheck this box and we have to fill in the shipping address of the buyer. Shipping address is where we will be delivering the goods to the buyer, or even the invoice where it will be going. So we can say our shipping address is the same as the billing address. Then we have notes and attachment. These notes can include uh, description of your buyer or nature of transaction you want to transact with the buyer. Then notes and attachment is anything that identifies the buyer or your nature of business. Then payment terms is the invoice period. If the number of days the buyer has to stay with your invoice before cashing in or before the invoice goes overdue. Then the payment method is the method that the buyer is going to use to pay you. So you can say bank transfer. Then here we say 30 days. Then we add. Now you can see that our buyer is here. Then if we want to view our buyer information, you can just press on the buyer and you'll be able to see the information about this buyer. You see this buyer, we just created the buyer, so the buyer does not have any invoice. The overdue amount, everything is new, it's zero, and also the invoices are zero. So with that, guys, we have come to the end of the buyer module. If you have any question, let me know so that we can proceed to the next part. Thank you. I'll welcome Stacy to answer question. If you have any question, kindly.
Okay, thank you, Sam, for that elaborate explanation. I'm not seeing any questions from anyone. Please, if you have, you can feel free to raise your hand, and then yeah, before he proceeds to the last section. Okay, so I'm not seeing any questions. I think okay, we can give it some few minutes. Okay, so something I actually wanted to point out, because I noticed that majority of you haven't subscribed. So we usually have a discount. For everyone who registered for the webinar, we usually have a discount whereby you'll get 50% off. And I'll share the webinar code with you. So I think it's a very good opportunity. If you haven't subscribed, you can use the discount code. At least you enjoy FarmCloud. And the good thing is that it will cover you for the subscription runs for 3 months, so it's enough that covers for the planting season. So yeah, be on the lookout for the webinar code, the discount code, and you can upgrade. So in the meantime, if there are any questions, please feel free to ask. Okay, so just some few minutes, please. Sam is experiencing some technical issues, but we've resolved it. We are getting back on track. Just some few minutes, and then we finalize on the last feature. Okay, so there's a question asking if we can do private demos. Yes, so you're not restricted to the webinar only. If you'd want one-on-one demo, it's totally fine. That's also okay. So we just usually have the webinar at the end of every last Friday of the month to accommodate everyone. But if you want an personalized session, that's fine. We do that as well. Okay, so I think Sam is back on. He's going to proceed on the last feature, and then we can conclude the webinar.
Okay, guys. So let me take you through FarmShield. FarmShield is new to FarmCloud. It's a it's a it's like a device. It's a device that helps you to remotely control your farm from your mobile or laptop, whichever you're using, so that you can get real-time information on your irrigation, fertigation, and the needs for your crop. So it's very easy to use. And if you want a farm shield, you just have to talk to Stacy, and then Stacy will do the due diligence, and everything will be delivered to you. And our team will come to your farm, and they will install farm shield for you. So let me show you how farm shield looks like. So farm shield looks like this. The data that farm shield collects looks like this. So here we have our device. This is the device name, the device number. You can have a device name, the model, the status, whether online or offline, and the date that the device has been assigned to your phone. So maybe if you request for a function on Monday and our team comes on Monday, you'll be assigned on Monday, which is 28th. And then there are actions that you can take, which is only the edit action. So here, for those who want Farm Shield, this is what Farm Shield will be showing you. So Farm Shield shows you the irrigation, the soil moisture level. This is how wet or dry your soil is, and the valve position, whether the valve is closed or open. If it is open, It means that the device is irrigating your, let's say, your element, your farm element, if it's a greenhouse or an open field, and the amount of water that has been dispensed since the device installation. And also here, you can see the total amount of water dispensed today. So for this device, you see the valve is closed, and now we have no irrigation data today. Then the other data is sensor data. So sensor data shows soil insights and ambient data. So for soil insights, we have the nitrogen levels, the phosphorus levels, the potassium levels, all the way up to soil temperature and soil moisture. So this value will give you viable insights so that you can take informed decision against your plants and in your farm, so that you can be able to maximize and also automate your products with precision farming. Then for ambient data, we have the air humidity, that is for your greenhouse, the air temperature, and the carbon dioxide levels, light intensity. All these will be able to be advised on by our team when they come to your farm to install Farm Shield for you. And with that, we have come to the end of our presentation for this month. Feel free to ask any question or any clarification so that we can be able to end our meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sam, for that explanation. So I think there are no further questions left. Not seeing any questions. Please, guys, keep in mind regarding the discount code. Please make use of it. It's only limited for a few days. The code is webinar 50. So we'll be typing it on the chat. The code is webinar 50. So if you'd love to subscribe, and I urge you to do so, at least to enjoy all the other features that make FarmCloud great, ensure you maximize the whole platform. Yes, the webinar is webinar 50, and you get 50% off the subscription. So yeah. Yeah, so I don't know if there's any participant that would love to say anything. If you'd love for us to give you a chance to talk, yes, we can give that at least a minute or two, and then we close off the webinar. So we've shared the code via text message, via chat rather. Yeah. So if there's anyone who'd love to say something before we conclude the webinar. Okay. Okay, perfect. So thank you so much for joining in, and thank you for your participation. Okay, let me just answer this one.
Okay, again, guys, if you want to reach out to Stacy, you can click on on our website. We have here. You can click on this one, and then you'll be able to chat with either Sarah or Stacy, and they'll be able to advise you and help you configure your account.
Yes. So you can reach us through the website, or you can also share email at support@cinefa.io or info@cinefa.io. Yes, we'll definitely give support your needs. So I think it's safe to conclude the webinar. So thank you so much for everyone who joined in. We appreciate your participation in the meeting, and also your attendance as well is highly valued. So I wish everyone an amazing weekend.